YouTube, Robert the Monster Among Marks Drap here. I'm back again with another episode of our Raw review. Now, I know that you guys noticed that right up here, there should be a heavy metal hippie, but she's standing in line. What for, you may ask? She's going to actually be at tonight's SmackDown Live 1000. So I hope that I can do my tag team partner proud and get these stupid things off my head because, hey, we got a show to do. Now, for those of you who haven't done this already, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all those wonderful things down below. Hang on, still working on the technicals, as it were, because, I mean, you guys deserve the best show we can possibly put together, and that means that I've got to, up my game. I've got to try and make this thing look good. Speaking of things that didn't look good, oh my God, this week's Monday Night Raw featured some of I liked certain portions of this Raw. Don't get me wrong. You got to step up and admit, what you liked, what you didn't like, where the good portions were. And I'm just pulling up chat so I can see you guys because I do not have you on my screen because, hey, I don't want you guys to have to watch a robot. Anyway, with that being said, this week's show featured some of the greatest things. Lots of really good emotion heading into Evolution and, by extension for the men, the World Cup / Crown Jewel. Now, I note with, I put this in the notes here. Everywhere they mentioned Crown Jewel, anytime they did it, they never said two words that they had been saying up until this week, which was Saudi Arabia. It's not that they seem to have gotten their point across that they're going to be in Saudi Arabia because they didn't shut up about it for the greatest Royal Rumble. Why would they do it now? Well, it's because there was some political things that may have happened over there, and we don't do that here on this show. We're just a wrestling channel. So if you guys want to know more, please, I highly recommend, no matter what political affiliation you have, go check out John Oliver's piece on Saudi Arabia from last week tonight. It also has a very blatant name drop of WWE, and he talks about how they were there for the greatest Royal Rumble and how they had plans to be in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh again for Crown Jewel, but now they're not talking about that. So we might get it from Manchester, according to certain sources that I believe I may have posted on about Friday. But we start this show, the Monday Night Raw, with Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. They come out and they talk about last week's how the Shield is fracturing and shattered and how they've broken them. We are told before they start speaking that it will be Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for one World Cup qualifier, and the final position in the World Cup qualifier will be Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose. I mean, very, very well done. We get a replay of last week's event with Drew pinning Dean Ambrose, and then his walk away from the Shield as they sat in the ring. There is a WWE.com exclusive interview after the match in which Dean says, "I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Maybe I don't fit in anywhere." And then Drew gets on the line and starts repeating the same sentiment that they've been talking about for quite a while. Dean is finally seeing the light. He's finally opened his eyes. He's finally seeing that the Shield is a selfish thing, that they don't care about Dean, that they don't have anything, that like they're just out for themselves. But then we get the fact that there's a World Cup qualifier match to start here very soon with Drew versus Seth, and how it could possibly lead to both Drew and Dolph winning, and that leading into Dolph versus Drew, and how they go back and forth a bit, like who's better. I'm better than you, and oh no, you're not bad, but you're not me, and I'm amazing. And no, you look at the numbers. I'm clearly better, and no, you're right. You're great, but you're not me. And then Braun Strowman's like, it doesn't matter who's who. At Crown Jewel, I'm going to destroy Roman. I'm going to slay the beast, destroy the big dog, and then the Shield come out, and it's just Seth and Roman, and they don't come through the crowd. They come out through the entrance ramp, both carrying their championships, and Roman, for fucking once, I hope they keep this gimmick where he continues to carry it over his shoulder. Not on his back, on his shoulder. It's like that little touch, that little thing that they do is a big leap that helps me believe that he actually cares about the championship, that he's going to hold it tight to his chest. He's not letting anybody hear. Not it's a backpack, a thing to go over his back. No, right here. That's where it needs to be. Close left shoulder. Whole time. Never stop. But Seth and Roman come out to talk back, and with Dean not being there, they mention it. Like Ziggler mentioned it. He's like, I don't care where I know you guys don't care about Ambrose. I don't really care if he shows up. I'll take a count out. I'll take a forfeiture. But where's Ambrose? Where's your buddy? Has he abandoned you guys? And Seth's like, nah, Dean just runs on Ambrose time. He runs on Ambrose time, which means he shows up when he wants, where he wants. And Roman's like, this is the closest you guys are ever going to get to the titles. In fact, Braun, once I beat you at Crown Jewel, you go to the back of the line. And Strowman's laughing and all that. Seth then states that Drew's qualifying match is starting next. I'm going to just go into the best spots because I'm not as good as Sierra, who is amazing at doing this kind of thing. Best spot, good start to the match was Seth Rollins doing his mid-rope suicida, only to be stopped cold and then put into the belly-to-belly suplex. Late in the match, there was a superplex by Seth Rollins. Then he tried to roll it into a Falcon Arrow, but McIntyre counters with a Falcon Arrow of his own. Dolph Ziggler grabs the top rope at the end of the match, because Seth is going back for the stomp on Drew McIntyre, and it causes Seth to spill over the top, and Dean shows up at this point. I mean, the music hits, he comes out of the crowd, starts beating on Dolph, and Dean just bats at it, and Drew gets a shot in on Dean. Seth nails the stomp on McIntyre, rolls him into the ring, I'm sorry. I thought he was going to roll him into the ring, pick up the victory there. But instead, with everybody waylaid on the outside, Rollins jumps in, beating the 10 count, and therefore gaining the count out victory over McIntyre. Leaves him looking strong, which is important. It is a factor later. Backstage, Shield is talking back and forth, and you get to hear Rollins say, "Oh, I always knew he'd show up on. He's on lunatic time. He's gonna show up, but he always shows up on lunatic time." And Dean is very incensed by this comment. He's like, "What do you mean by that?" Very much pulling out almost a Joe Pesci. Like, what do you mean? I'm just a clown here to amuse you? And he actually did say that. He has, I get it. I'm a clown to you. Good for a laugh. And storms off after saying, I've got to worry about my own match. I love that this plays more dissension, but later. We get a replay of D-Generation X coming back together, and we get a Brothers of Destruction promo. Very largely, no, we are going to beat you. Next match, Ember Moon and Nia Jax versus Dana Brooke and motherfucking Tamina Snuka showing up. This is not the first time tonight that I'm just, shocked we get to see this, but like somebody coming back, and I'll get to that later. But it's just we hadn't seen her, we hadn't heard anything, we completely forgot about her, and apparently she'd had to have a shoulder surgery shortly after the Women's Royal Rumble, and it took 9 months, so she's back. And this was a decent match. Again, the spots for this match, in my opinion, were Tamina being there at all. B, the announcement of the Women's Battle Royal for, quote, a future championship match. A future match against the champion at a time of their choosing, I guess, almost like the Money in the Bank, but it's a Women's Battle Royal at Evolution, and apparently it's gonna include Tori Wilson, which I didn't know that she was coming back. I hadn't heard anything, but it is a thing. They're trying to get as many women as they can. They're not shooting for the 50, but that's fine. Tamina hitting the Samoan drop on Nia Jax just to, further enforce her power. She did look small. Well, she didn't look as small as, say, Ember Moon or Dana Brooke against Nia Jax, but she looked a little smaller. But it was more. Nia Jax is a big girl. She's very, very stout, and Tamina is a column. Like, she's not very wide, but she's very muscular and she's very strong, and I loved it that they played into that. The win comes with Ember Moon hitting the Eclipse on Dana Brooke to finish out. Post-match, there's a little back and forth between Nia Jax and Tamina hits the super kick on Nia Jax. Both Ember Moon and Tamina dump Nia Jax over the top rope before they get into it, and Dana Brooke pitches the both of them out. So, yet further fuel for Women's Battle Royal. I get the feeling that Nia Jax is going to permanently play the Big Show role, and Tamina will be Kane in every battle royal that is ever in. Yeah. Oh, how can anybody ever beat this massive strength and massive power, and then always loses? I saw a bump in the buffering here, so that leads me to think we might. I mean, we're not stopping the stream, and I'm trying to check to see what we got as far as chat. If you can, if you guys want to go on ahead and throw me a comment. I know I'm seeing a little flicker in my activity here, but hang on. It might be because my PlayStation is on. Yeah, see, the patch for Destiny 2 came out today, so I'm trying to cut that off so that way we can continue having a good stream, because, I mean, quality is important. We do the best we can. Getting back to Raw here for a second, we get a replay of the Bellas turning heel on Ronda Rousey, who now calls them Do Nothing Bellas, which I really love, is a twist on her famous Do Nothing Bitches line from MMA. The baddest woman on the planet then calls the Bella Twins out, and I gotta say, just off the top, this is wonderful. This is something that I love to see. Why? Because it's her promo skills might not be, I mean, I think they're good. They're not, you know, she is not the female Paul Heyman, but that's fine. She doesn't need to be. We have a Paul Heyman. His name is Paul Heyman. And The Miz is The Miz, and I can't think of a single woman like on the roster that currently like stands out in my mind in that sense, where they're a great promo ability, if nothing else. And she very, very plainly wears her heart on her sleeve. Her emotions are clear on her face the entire time. Like, she is very moved by the crowd chanting or, you know, welcoming her and loving seeing her. We get a lot of anger at the betrayal that she suffered, and she then this promo is very good. If you get a chance to go back and watch it, I highly recommend that you do so. We get starting out, it's like the Bellas even mentioned like, what are you gonna do? You gonna tell us that you're gonna break our arms? And the crowd starts chanting, "Break their arm." Ronda says she's gonna rip their arms and beat them with them. She very much rightly calls out the Divas era for being garbage. Even mentioning like when she first had that match at WrestleMania, when she wasn't even like on the roster, like she just came in and did a thing. Like the Bellas coming up to her at, like in the ring and congratulating and celebrating with them. But saying she now realizes they only did it because there was a camera on her, and that they've done the absolute, that they are to be commended for doing the most with the minimum amount of talent. Saying, quote, "You leached off your men. You diluted their movesets," even going so far as to say, because they talk about knocking down doors. Like, we've been knocking down doors in WWE for years, and you haven't done anything. You've been here for, 20 Raws, and you're not that great. And she's like, I've knocked down doors in judo, I knocked down doors in Strikeforce, I knocked down doors in MMA, and I'm now knocking down doors in here at home in WWE. The only door you ever knocked down was the one to John Cena's bedroom, and he eventually threw you out the exact same door. Wow. Oh, I'm sitting here like, my face has melted from the awesome that you have just put out, Ronda Rousey. No, you don't ever need to not be champ. Just go with it. Oh, my battery's about to die on my phone. Yay! Next, the Bellas come. She says, "Are you going to come down here, or do I have do I have to come up there and deliver you the ass whooping you so rightfully deserve? The Bella Twins, like Nikki does a stupid dance and calls out the security team, who absolutely get trashed by Ronda before Nikki and Brie are vanished. Um, Again, this was a great segment. I loved Ronda's intensity. I loved her passion and how much effort she got. Like how much they're putting her over is appropriate in my mind. Next, we get a replay of Baron Corbin's Battle Royal that he had for the World Cup Battle Royal, where Kurt Angle, dressed as the Conquistador, won. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable are backstage talking to somebody who turns out to be Kurt Angle in a Hawaiian shirt and a straw trilby. And they're basically saying, "Oh man, you look great. It looks wonderful. That shirt looks glorious. We need that hat." And then fucking motherfucking No Way Jose just Congo lining with like 3 or 4 other people. And then Kurt Angle's like, "Hey man, I've been working on some dance moves. Maybe I should join you." And yeah, come on. And then Baron Corbin, as No Way Jose is leaving, Baron Corbin shows up and says, "Oh, you think you got a lot of jokes, huh? Well, I got something for you. When was the last time you competed on Raw?" And Kurt's like, "It's been on like 12 years since I've had a singles match." He's like, "Oh, well, we're going to fix that. We're going to tune you right up for World Cup. You've got a match tonight. Oh, yeah, and it's a handicap match against AOP." I'm like, "Oh, God, Kurt, come up with something good, please." Then we move into Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler. One of the best spots of the night actually is near the opening of this match, where Dolph Ziggler nails a top rope knee smash, like the face to the knee, and seems to be injured, which never comes up again after this match. It was a damn good match between these two guys. Really, really highly enjoyed watching them work. Dean adding the Cloverleaf submission, the Texas Cloverleaf, to his arsenal, and trying to hit it on Dolph. Seth and Drew come out near the end, just come out almost one on the other's heels, wrecking each other on the outside. They all get taken out. Everybody's laying on the floor. Oh, I'm sorry. Dean's laying on the floor with Seth and Drew. Seth tries to get Dean back into the ring, and Dean shoves him off. He's trying to get him up. He's trying to get him going, and Dean shoves him away. In that context, in that bubble, it looked like, oh, Dean just might have thought it was Drew and trying to shove him away and get back in the ring before the ref can, do anything or calls the match a disqualification. He rolls into the ring and eats a super kick. Dolph falls into the cover, 1, 2, 3. Dolph advances into the World Cup. So now we have John Cena, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Dolph Ziggler, and Seth Rollins. We've got 2 more spots which are going to be debated tonight here in the next couple hours, which should be amazing. Seth gets in the ring with Dean. Dean shoulder shoves him on the way out of the ring, up the ramp. Seth chases him down, shoves him. They start bickering. Roman comes out to play peacekeeper to get in between his 2 Shield brethren. Baron Corbin's music hits. He comes out. He's like, "Listen, I can't. You guys having trouble? I can't allow the Shield to dissolve on my watch. That wouldn't look good on me. So you guys have got a match later tonight. It's going to be our main event. You're going to face Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Strowman. I mean, having just a tag match between Dean and Seth and the tag team champions, that would have been fine. Because it would have been different than last week, which was a rematch from Super Showdown. But that's what we're getting. We're getting another rematch. Let's see here. Finn Balor and Bayley come down to the ring for Finn's match against Jinder Mahal. Then we go to commercial. I actually have this written down there because I must have seen this commercial like 3 or 4 times and just not paying attention. But apparently Edge is going to be at SmackDown 1000 tonight. I completely blank on a lot of commercials, but getting to see the rated R superstar. Shivani's going to, sue me. I'm jealous. I'm fully jealous. It's going to be a wonderful show tonight. They also announced again that I almost said Eddie Guerrero. Oh God, I fucking wish. But it's going to be Rey Mysterio versus Shinsuke Nakamura for yet a further spot at Crown Jewel for the World Cup. Backstage, we get Ziggler, McIntyre, and Strowman talking, hey, oh man, it's going to be so amazing because they're finally cracking, they're finally breaking. And McIntyre's like, listen, big man, I know you want to shot your shots at Roman, and I get that, but you have to focus on Seth. You have to hurt him. And Strowman's like, listen, I'm not stupid. I know how to break the Shield. I know what I'm doing here. If you guys can't get it done, you're going to get these hands. And no, come on now. Back to the ring. We actually get word that Samir Singh is back from his injury. So we get the Singh brothers and Alicia Fox at ringside for the squash match between Finn Balor and Jinder Mahal, which is exactly what it is because it doesn't go 3 minutes, and Finn wins with the coup de grace. This brings out Bobby Lashley with Leo Rush, who starts talking smack, Bobby in the ring flexing and standing on the ropes and all that. I didn't care. So, hang on, I just noticed a thing. So, sorry. Keep me on my side. We get Leo Rush. It's apparently Bobby Lashley. God, I wish it was Bobby Roode. I would love to watch Bobby Roode wrestle. But no, Bobby Lashley versus Tyler Breeze. Leo Rush is on the mic the whole time, being absolutely useless. This match was terrible. I hate that Tyler Breeze had to suffer that. It really wasn't good. But was what it was. We have Bobby Lashley. Like, he doesn't, like, the bell rings and he doesn't start the match. He just, like, hold on. Gotta flex. Gotta get on the rope and flex. Gotta really make my muscles pop. And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, God, I mean, I know you're trying to position him as a heel, and I know Vince McMahon has a very large propensity for very big, muscly guys. But fucking stop. Stop trying to shove him down our throats. Stop trying to get him, get him in whatever capacity you have him. It's not the right way. You're doing the opposite of what you want to do. Very much so. You're putting together, You're putting together a program that is going to exactly do the one thing you don't want to have it do. Have an audience not give a single fuck about Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley came back, people cared. Bobby Lashley going after Kevin Owens, people still cared. Or KO going after Bobby Lashley, people cared. Bobby Lashley being a heel by busting up KO's knee, which is now apparently the kayfabe explanation that he has to have his knee surgery and may be out for a while. Again, he does the vertical suplex. I mean, really, I imagine that Vince was probably spooging himself backstage in gorilla position, but I didn't care about this match. I really did not. His matches are quickly going to become the piss break matches. Next up, Trish Stratus and Lita come down to talk about Evolution, and they don't get too far into it before Alexa Bliss and Mickie James come out to waste time and oxygen. This promo was terrible. This whole thing, the way that they were talking, like Alexa Bliss making fun of how long it's been since either Lita or Trish Stratus were in the ring and doing the impressions. It was very much like the Iconics, but worse in a sense. This also then leads to Mickie James and Lita, asking for, or basically saying, all right, well, you say we need practice, get your ass in the ring, we'll beat you now. And the heels, coming down the ramp and then walking away. I hate that. I really hate it. Backstage, Bayley is cornered by the Riot Squad, who says, "Oh, you don't have Finn Balor here. You don't have Sasha Banks here. Nobody's seen her in a while. You don't have anybody. You're just gonna get beat up. So go ahead and run away before that happens." We also, after that whole useless part was there, and I should have when they mentioned Sasha Banks, I should have known, but. We get Natalya versus Ruby Riott announced. Come back to the ring. The Conquistador is already in the ring, and he's going to face AOP. And everybody's like, no, this is Kurt Angle. Drake Maverick is out there. Corbin is sitting at the top of the ramp on a steel chair. AOP squash in, under a couple minutes with the neck breaker sit-out powerbomb combo. I don't know if that has a name, but I feel like it should. Drake Maverick then demands that they pull that Akam or Razor, I couldn't tell which one, pull off the mask, and they pull off the mask to reveal that it's just some jobber. And Kurt Angle ambushes Baron Corbin from behind and hits the angle slam at the top of the ramp. So that's intriguing. We now move to, I think we go to a commercial comeback, and we get Natalya versus Ruby Riott. Natalya says, "Oh, you thought I'd just come down there to where you three could ambush me? Guess again." I brought back up, brings out Bayley, and she says, "I got somebody else to come with me, a returning Sasha Banks." Which means we now have to hear Michael Cole say, "It's boss time." God. I want a petition to make that man stop saying that, because it's not working. But this match doesn't actually go on that long, as Natalya sets up for the sharpshooter. I don't know which one it is, but one of the Viking chick gets a chop block on Natalya's leg, causing the disqualification. The baby faces jump in to have the post-match brawl. They get dumped out. They jump back in to help Natalya, who's in the middle of the ring, and the faces end up standing tall in the end. It's great. Elias backstage. This poor roadie's got a thing full of picks. He's asking for his green pick, and Roadie's like, I don't have a green one. He flips the thing into his face, says it was right here behind my ear. That was a test. You failed. We get the Elias segment. He name drops John Cena again. Does the cheap city heat that he always does. And Apollo Crews comes out to interrupt. And he's like, why are you out here? He's like, oh, well, it seems like everybody else is interrupting you, so I figured it was my turn. I'm sick of waiting in the back. Everybody's passing me, including you. I know. And Elias is like, no, I know who you are. I've heard your name. I heard you're very talented. I've just never seen it. It's like seeing Bigfoot or a UFO or the Flyers win the cup, and Apollo Crews shoots back, or you taken seriously for your music. He's like, oh, well, you know what? I think that we're going to have a scrap here. Apollo Crews eventually, like, as Elias goes in for the clothesline, ducks under and presses Elias, like holds him there for a good 10-15 seconds before just dropping him back. It was beautiful. Apollo Crews walks back up the ramp. He's got a good beard. He's got a little beard going, change of personality. He got mad. And again, this is very good. I love it. Now, like I said, if he can do what Bobby Lashley did when he first come back, that is, still be a smiley, happy, good baby face, but then flip the switch when the time comes and put somebody down, it'll be great. And this feud with Elias could do that for him. We get to see Roman talking to Dean backstage again. This is where I wrote they talk a lot about Crown Jewel but never mention Saudi Arabia. We get the Shield versus the Dogs of War. Strowman shouting at Ziggler to start the match, and then Ziggler shouting back at Strowman was pretty good at the beginning. Rollins being knocked into Ambrose, who starts to argue before Roman tags in, was a pretty good spot. Roman hitting the Samoan drop on Strowman is always impressive. Strowman's almost 400 pounds, so it's good to see. There was a Dirty Deeds, I think, on McIntyre, who then gets, he's going into the cover. Ziggler knocks Rollins into Ambrose. They start bickering right there. Ambrose goes for the Dirty Deeds on Seth. Ziggler hits the zigzag on Dean as Seth rolls out, but Roman comes in, does his thing. Shield wins, because the whole thing at the end degraded into Strowman trying to spear splash into the corner on Roman. On I think it was Seth, who slides out of the ring. Roman's right there on top of him, raining blows. McIntyre goes for the Claymore kick, hits Strowman. This then leads to McIntyre getting punched out of the ring. Ziggler comes back in, tries to fight. The Shield eventually come together, hit the triple power bomb, the Shield bomb on Ziggler. Ambrose picks up the pinfall victory. Strowman gets back in the ring post-match, hits Ziggler with the running power slam, but eats a second intentional Claymore kick by McIntyre, who then walks away. This is the absolute breakdown of that trio, it seems. So I'd be okay with that. I am perfectly fine with that having happened. Closing out the show that way is fine. I don't really care. We have the better part of a month before that happened, so it's probably a bit premature and didn't need to really happen, but it happened, so we got to deal with it. I want to thank you all for watching. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, share all those wonderful things down below. Hit the bell for the notifications. Follow the show on Twitter at InMoshPit. I'm at Rob's Random ROMs. My good friend Sierra, she should be back for hopefully Thursday's show. I don't know. She's going to be kind of wiped out tomorrow, so there's no way she's going to be here tomorrow when we cover SmackDown Live 1000. Yeah, I can't. I honestly, I will probably watch this 3 times. It's going to be that good. I watched this show twice because it was not bad. But please check us out tomorrow. We should start at about 4, hopefully. Again, we'll see you guys next time. Later. Ah, that did not work. It zoomed in too far. Whoa, big me.